Have any of you ever dealt with a friendship breakup where it's just like, okay, like technically y'all not broken up for real, but you have taken a break? This is like the first time in my life where I've actually dealt with friendship breakups. I think now that it's getting closer to the time that I'm supposed to be meeting with this person, I'm starting to get a little nervous, and I think that's why it's like I'm feeling so fidgety. I'm trying to feel okay. I know I shouldn't overthink this. You know, she seems to be in good spirits. I am in pretty good spirits right now, so I ain't even feeling no type of ways for real. I'm just nervous. Whether she recognized it or not, I did look at her like family. It really bothered me to lose this person. I'm not even gonna cap. In the midst of us taking the break and her and I had a conversation, you know, like she did recognize where she felt like she may have gone wrong, especially after having a conversation with me. And I think that's why I was so willing to go ahead and meet with her. Around the time that her and I fell out, that was pretty much like peak when my dad died. And I'm not gonna lie to you, your girl was spiraling out of control. I'm not even gonna hold y'all. I've even lost some other people in the process of me grieving and like trying to figure myself out. So when her and I took that break, I knew that the break needed to happen because I knew that with the way that I handle my problems, it just was not going to have her feeling the best. And I felt like I was going to continuously keep triggering her. I think this break did well for the both of us, or at least I'm hoping that it did. I'm really hoping that this is something that, you know, her and I are able to hash everything out again in person the way that it should have happened, you know, just talking everything out properly. I'm not going with the expectation that her and I are just gonna instantly pick up where we left off type of thing, because, you know, it's been a while. I don't really want to have any high hopes or any expectations. I'm not even the type of person to sit there and be like, oh well, you know, now that we're talking again, like things are instantly going to go back to normal. I've just never been that person. I tend to be very protective of myself. I know it's going to take me a while to stop being on the fence, but we're working on it. We're working on growth. We're working on being honest about our feelings. We're working on all of it, and I think that's a good thing for me right now. Like, I think that it's actually really good that I've kind of just been sitting here like, okay, you know, I know that these are things that I need to fix. These are things that I need to work on, and, you know, put forth the effort to go ahead and just essentially do better. Not only for myself, but for those around me, because at the end of the day, this isolation period has been really awakening to me in the sense where it's just like, I feel like I'm a lot more self-aware. I feel that it's one of those things where now I'm looking back and it's just like, okay, like I could see how things that I've said and how I've reacted to certain things, or just not reacting period, could affect those around me, because at the end of the day, not everybody is like me. Does that make sense? I hope it makes sense. Honestly, I just overall want to be better. I'm hoping that either way, the both of us are able to get something out of this conversation. We are meeting for drinks. I low-key didn't look at the menu the way I should have. Bad thing to do. When I say I've never done this before, I really have never done this before. I would have thought that things like this would be happening for me like in undergrad and in high school, not necessarily, you know, as an adult. So it's kind of like a different change of pace for me. I do feel like, you know, I want to go ahead and apologize to her again, because I feel like that's the right thing to do. You know what we call that? Growth. I feel like I've learned a lot about myself since I came back from Ghana, and I've just been really prioritizing myself and my needs and taking the time to grieve, because outside of losing my dad, I did lose other relationships. It was one of those things where also, like, in the midst of me losing these relationships, I also came to the realization that a lot of these relationships that I was holding on to me, were just starting to come off questionable, because it's kind of just like, while I do love this person, it's just like, are we really meant to even move forward in this next phase of my life and the next phase of their lives? Like, is it really a thing where, you know, I'm supposed to be there, you know, till your finish line, as I like to call it, and I don't really know. So it's like I've kind of been grieving all of that and really trying to figure things out. I know that There are some things where I've just came to the realization that, yeah, I'm just letting it go. I don't think it's worth fighting for. I'm not really sure if I'm making the right decision, but I do like want to stand firm on how I feel about the situation. I feel like that's a part of me essentially putting myself first as far as like what I feel like I need out of these relationships and how I feel about how people treat me. Like, I'm also working on standing firm on my boundaries as well. It's a very uncomfortable process. Okay, so I am finally here. I'm a little nervous, I'm not gonna lie to you, but you know what? It's okay because we're gonna be okay. We're gonna have a good old time. It might be a little awkward and cringy, but we're gonna be okay. Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna talk to y'all later. Okay, so I'm back in the house. Let's do a recap. First, I want to say I was actually kind of surprised at how well everything went. I really felt a sense of relief, and I don't know if maybe it's just me that was feeling this way, but I know that her and I had a whole talk about everything and like how we felt, and you know, essentially how we came to the realization that it really was just a miscommunication thing between the both of us. I think it was a really good thing that we had this talk in person. I think it was really helpful, and it just made it a lot easier for me to see as well that while in the moment this was a really good thing for me, she was still able to make me feel seen and heard in the ways that I needed. It also felt like nothing had changed, and that was also something that I had worried about, because even on the way there I was sitting there, I was just like, dang, you know, like even if her and I have this conversation, what if the dynamic doesn't feel the same, or like maybe this is basically like a closer conversation for her type of thing, because you know, I tend to overthink and worry about a lot. My anxiety be telling me all the time like, yo girl, you're crazy, people don't like you, and I'll be sitting here like, dang, for real? I really be buying into it and I'll be believing it low-key. So I think that moving forward, I think it'll be easier for her and I to have a lot of these uncomfortable conversations without feeling like there needs to be a fallout or that we need to take a break and step back from each other type of thing. I'm really appreciative to have people who are around me who essentially they are patient with me and they are willing to understand me and pretty much see where I'm coming from with a lot of things without just assuming that my disappearances or my standoffishness is coming from a place of malice. At the end of the day, I regret nothing. I did appreciate the reassurance that she gave me as far as wanting to work on our friendship and our relationship, and I do feel the same way. So yeah, thanks for listening to me rant. I'm about to go to bed. Good night.